If I think back over the last 6 months, it's been a very good environment for global fixed income markets. Obviously, Q4 of 2018 was quite a challenging period, but at the start of 2019, we had a combination of a pivot from the Federal Reserve to a more neutral stance. We had expectations of some stimulus coming out of China, and at the time it was felt that the trade discussions between the US and China were on the right track. So that actually led to a decent recovery in some of the risk markets like high yield and emerging markets that had suffered late 2018, yet we continue to see downward pressure on core government yields with the expectation of a more neutral and possibly easing monetary policy out of the global central banks, leading to strong returns across pretty much every fixed income asset class. When we look at the current economic backdrop, it does feel like we're seeing a bit of a slowdown in global economic data. The good news that we had earlier in the year regarding trade between the US and China does seem to be deteriorating. We had a bit of a breakdown in discussions, and it's led to a slowing in economic sentiment and economic output. On the flip side, though, we've had a turnaround from the global central banks. When you look at the Federal Reserve, we are now expecting easing later in the year, and even from very low policy rates in Europe and Japan, it still looks like actually the next movements will be for more accommodation. So that should, to some extent, support the slowing economic environment. And that means that we see, as our base case, more of a sub-trend like growth. But in the near term, we don't expect the global economy to tip down into recession. So given the strong performance that fixed income has generated over the course of this year, and our view that we are seeing a bit of a slowdown in the global economy at the moment, we're using this as an opportunity to go up in quality across the portfolio. So although we still think there is value in parts of the market like high yield, they've been very good for us over the course of this year. So we've been reducing some of our allocation there, and we've also been looking to put it into markets which should be supported by more accommodation from global central banks. So that means lifting the duration of the portfolio and also buying areas like peripheral Europe, European covered bonds that should be supported if we continue or we see more accommodation coming out of the European Central Bank. Thank you for taking the time.